Good day everyone. Today we are going to present the chapter 8 El Filibusterismo. But before that, let me introduce myself and my partners. So I am Gladys Aladeza and my partners are Geraldine Largado and Clade Eminga. So yeah, let's start. Introduction. El Filibusterismo. El Filibusterismo is Jose Rizal's second novel written as the sequel of Noli Me Tangere. Commonly nicknamed El Fili or simply Phil, the novel was written also in Spanish. Its commonly known English alternative title is The Reign of Greed. Sa madaling sabi daw po, ang El Filibusterismo ay pangalawang nobela ni Rizal na sinulat bilang karugtong ng Noli Me Tangere. Karaniwan tinatawag na El Fili lang. Ang nobela ay isinulat din sa Espanyol. Ang kilalang pamagat nito sa Ingles ay The Reign of Greed. The writing and printing of Fili. Rizal started writing El Filibusterismo in October 1887 in Calamba during his first homecoming. The novel was thus written against the background of threats and oppressions he and his family suffered because of Noli and the so-called Calamba agrarian trouble. Sinasabi po dito na sinimulan ni Rizal ang pagsulat ng El Filibusterismo noong Oktubre 1887 sa Calamba, noong ang kanyang unang pagbalik sa Pilipinas. Kaya naman, ang nobela ay isinulat sa gitna ng mga banta at pag-aapi na dinanas niya at ng kanyang pamilya dahil sa Noli at sa tinatawag na Calamba Agrarian Trouble. Matatandaan natin ang El Fili ay tungkol sa mga nangyayari about political issues. And also, dito ay may intensyon na atakihin ang gobyerno ng Spain. Dito na din pumapasok ang paghihirap na nararanasan ni Rizal sa pagsulat ng El Filibusterismo. Narito, una, kakulangan sa pananalapi. Si Rizal ay kinapos sa pera habang sinusulat ang El Fili. Kinailangan niyang magtipid sa pagkain at isanla ang kanyang mga alahas upang matustusan ang pagsusulat. Bukod dito, nagkaroon na din ng problema sa puso, maging pamilya at ang kanyang mga kaibigan. Nakatanggap si Rizal ang balita na ang kanyang kasintahang si Lino Rivera ay ipapakasal sa ibang lalaki. Ang kanyang mga magulang at kapatid ay pinag-uusig din ng mga pamahalang Espanyol dahil sa usapin sa lupa. Dahil sa mga problemang ito, kinailangan ni Rizal na maghigpit ng sinturon at magsakripisyo upang matapos ang nobela. He continued working on it, making some revisions. In London in 1888, Rizal then went on to write the novel in Paris, and then in Brazil, where distractions were less and the cost of living was cheaper. Being able to focus on finishing the book, Rizal had finally completed it by March 29, 1891 in Biarritz. Jose Alejandrino, Rizal's roommate in Belgium, related that he was the one who looked for printing press for El Fili. He delivered proof and revision to Father Mayer Ballonneau in Ghent. For his assistant, Rizal gave him the El Fili's corrected proof and the pen used in doing corrections. Unluckily, these historical souvenirs were either lost or destroyed during the Revolution. Ipinagpatuloy daw po ni Rizal yung pagsusulat ng El Filibusterismo dito at nagkaroon na ng ilang pagbabago sa London noong 1888. Pagkatapos ay isinulat ni Rizal ang nobela sa Paris at pagkatapos ay sa Brussels, kung saan mas kaunti ang distraction at mas mura ang halaga ng pamumuhay. Dahil nakapokus siya upang tapusin ang libro. Natapos din ni Rizal ito noong Marso 29, 1891 sa Biarritz. Ikwinento ni Jose Alejandrino, ang kasama ni Rizal sa kwarto sa Belgium, na siya ang naghanap ng palimbagan para sa El Fili. Nagatid siya ng mga proof at revision kay Father Mayer van Loo sa Ghent. Dahil sa kanyang tulong, binigyan siya ni Rizal ng mga corrected proof ng El Fili at ang panulat na ginagamit sa paggawa ng mga correction. Sa kasamaang palad, ang mga makasaysayang souvenir na ito ay nawala o nasira noong panahon ng Revolusyon. Alejandrino, who later became a general in the Philippine Revolution, might have possibly been the first person to read the novel aside from the author. However, the honor of being called the savior of Fili had gone to Valentin Ventura, Rizal's friend, who partially financed the novel's publication. Ventura, still of the title, one may argue, is another classic elucidation of the expression, "That's what money can do." Initially, Rizal financed El Fili's printing by pawning his properties. In a letter to Jose Basa dated July 9, 1891, he related, "For the past 3 months, I have not received a single stabo." So I have pawned all that I have in order to publish this book. I will continue publishing it as long as I can, and where there is nothing to pawn, I will stop. Si Alejandrino daw po ay isa sa naging isang heneral sa Rebolusyong Pilipino. Ay maaaring ang unang taong nakabasa ng nobela maliban sa may akda. Gayunpaman, ang karangalan na tawaging tagapagligtas ng Philly ay napunta kay Valentin Ventura, kaibigan ni Rizal na bahagyang nagpundo ng paglalathala ng nobela. Sa simula, pinondohan ni Rizal ang pagpapalimbag ng El Philly sa pamamagitan ng pagpapautang ng kanyang mga ari-arian. Sa isang liham kay Jose Basa noong Hulyo 9, 1891, ikinuwento niya na sa nakalipas sa 3 buwan ay wala akong natanggap na kahit 1 sentimo. Kaya't ipinagpalit ko ang lahat ng mayroon ako upang mailathala ang librong ito. Ipagpapatuloy ko ang paglalathala nito hanggat kaya ko, at kapag wala nang maipagpapalit, hihinto ako. Sa madaling sabi, lahat ay kayang gawin o ibigay ni Rizal upang mailimbag ang El Philly. Diba, sana all na lang kay Rizal? Rizal's next letter to Basa carried the sad news that printing had to be suspended for lack of funds, and that it was at this point where Valentin Ventura came into the picture. Having known Rizal's predicament, Ventura offered him financial help. In hindsight, we can assume that Ventura was bothered by his conscience. Hence, his generous monetary assistance for Rizal Novel remembered that Ventura was one of the Filipinos who promised to co-author Rizal's proposed first book, but ended up contributing nothing. Dinala ang susunod na liham ni Rizal kay Basa ang malungkot na balita na kinakailangang ihinto ang pagpapalimbag dahil sa kakulangan ng pondo, at sa puntong ito, pumasok si Valentin Ventura. Dahil alam ni Ventura ang kalagayan ni Rizal, nag-alok siya ng tulong pinansyal. Sa pagbabalik tanaw, maaari nating ipagpalagay na ginambala si Ventura ng kanyang konsensya, kaya't ang kanyang pagbigay ng tulong pinansyal para sa nobela ni Rizal. Tandaan na si Ventura ay isa sa mga Pilipinong nangakong makikipagtulungan kay Rizal sa kanyang panukalang unang libro, ngunit walang naiambag. But even with Ventura's help, Rizal found it necessary to fundamentally shorten the novel, erasing 47 whole pages from the 279-page manuscript to save expenses. Thus, the printed El Philly, which came from the press by the middle of September 1891, turned out comprising only 38 chapters, compared with the 64 of Noailles, contrary to his original plan to make a longer sequel. For Ventura's salvific act, Rizal gave him the novel's original manuscript, a pen and an autograph printed copy. In 1925, the Philippine government bought the El Philly manuscript for Ventura for a large sum of 10,000 pesos. It is now being kept in the National Library. Dito, kinailangan ni Rizal na paikliin ang nobela, kaya't nagtanggal siya dito ng 47 pages mula sa 279 pages ng manuscript upang makatipid. Kaya't ang nakalimbag na El Philly na lumabas sa palimbagan noong kalagitnaan ng September 1891 ay naging 38 chapters na lamang, kumpara sa 64 ng Noailles. Taliwas sa kanyang orihinal na plano na gumawa ng mas mahabang sequel. Para sa pagliligtas sa El Philly na ginawa ni Ventura, binigyan siya ni Rizal ng original manuscript ng nobela, isang panulat at isang autograph na nakalimbag na kopya. Noong 1925, binili ng Government of the Philippines ang manuscript ng El Philly mula kay Ventura sa malaking halaga na 10,000 pesos na kasalukuyang nakatago sa National Library. Next po, filibusterismo and Gomburza. The filibusterismo in the novel's title is derived from the simple term filibusters. Rizal defined the word filibustera to his friend Ferdinand Blumentritt, who encountered but did not fully comprehend the world in the Noailles Rizal, thus explained in a letter, El Filibusterismo 2011. The word filibustera is little known in the Philippines. I heard it from the first time in 1872. When the tragic execution of the Gomburza took place. I still remember the panic that this word created. Our father forbade us to utter it, as well as the words Cavite, Burgos, one of the executed priests, etc. The Manila newspapers and the Spaniard apply this word to one whom they want to make a revolutionary suspect. The Filipinos belonging to the educated class fear the reach of the word. It means a dangerous patriot who will soon be hanged, or well, a presumptuous man. The word filibusters thus contextually means subversive, dissident, revolutionary, seditious, insurrectionary, and treasonous. Fittingly, Rizal dedicated the book to the memory of Gumbuza, the three Filipino patriotic priests who were accused of being filibustero and thus executed. In his dedication, Rizal perilously declared his conviction that the Spanish official treatment of the priest case was unjust, as their complicity in the Cavite mutiny is not clearly proved. The dedication party reads, "To the memory of priest Don Mariano Gomez, 85 years old, and Don Jose Burgos, 30 years old, and Don Jacinto Zamora, 35 years old, executed in Bagong Bayan Field on the 28th of February 1872. I have the right to dedicate my work to you as a victim of the evil which I undertake to combat." Rizal, however, made mistake in indicating the ages of priests and the date of their execution. During their martyrdom on the 17th of February 1872, Gomez was then 73, and then Burgos was 35, and Zamora was 37. Like many other students today, Rizal was perhaps not that good in memorizing historical details like date and ages. The foreword of the Fili was nonetheless addressed to the Filipino people in warning, and on their government, the original manuscript also included an inscription on the title page written by the author's friend Ferdinand Blumentritt. Ang salitang filibustero ay hango sa nobela ni Dr. Jose Rizal na El Filibusterismo. Ayon kay Rizal, ito ay tumutukoy sa isang mapanganib o makabayan o taong itinuturing na rebelde ng mga Espanyol noong panahon ng kolonyalismo. Ginagamit ito ng mga otoridad upang ikahon ang sino mang naghihimagsik o kumekisyon sa pamahalaan. Sa madaling salita, ang filibustero ay isang kalaban ng Espanya na maaaring bitayin o ipahamak. Ano nga ba ang kaugnayan nito sa Gumbursa? Ang Gumbursa ay mga paring martir. Ito ay binubuo ni na Marciano Gomez, Jose Burgos, and Jacinto Zamora. At noong February 17, 1872, sila ay binitay sa Bagong Bayan. Ang pagpatay sa Gumbursa ang naging simbolo ng pag-aabuso ng kapangyarihan at nagpapasiklab ng damdaming makabayan sa mga Pilipino kabilang na si Rizal. Ang pag-alay ni Rizal sa Gumbursa ay simbolo ng kanyang paniniwala na ang pagkamatay ng tatlong pari ang nag-udyok sa mga Pilipino na magising at ipaglaban ang kalayaan. Pareho ang No Limitang Here at El Filibusterismo ay nagsilbing inspirasyon sa himagsikang 1896 na nagpapatunay na ang mga salita at sakripisyo ay sandata laban sa kolonyalismo. Sa madaling sabi po ang filibustero at ang Gumbursa ay magkaugnay bilang mga simbolo ng pagbabangon laban sa inhustisya. Kahit may mga mali sa detalye, ang mensahe ni Rizal ay nanatiling malinaw. Ang pagiging makabayan ay hindi krimen, kundi katapangan.
Themes of Fili. Indeed, a continuation of the Noli, the El Filibusterismo exposes the real picture of Filipino society at the hands of the Spanish authorities. Socio-political issues mentioned in the Noli are also dealt with in the sequels. The abuses and hypocrisy of the members of the Spanish Catholic clergy, superstitions disguising as religious faith, the need for reform in educational system, the exploitation and corruption of government officials, and the pretenses of some social criming Filipinos and Spaniards. Ang El Filibusterismo ay isang pagpapatuloy ng No Limitang Here, kung saan mas lantad ang mga problema ng lipunang Pilipino sa ilalim ng mga Espanyol. Ipinakita rito ang mga katiwalian at pang-aabuso na naganap sa iba't ibang sektor ng lipunan. Tinatalakay rin nito ang mga isyong sosyo-politikal na nabanggit sa Noli. Isa na rito ang pang-aabuso at pagpapaimbabaw ng mga praile. Ipinapakita kung paano ginagamit ng mga opisyal na Espanyol at mga praile ang kanilang posisyon para sa sariling interes na nagdudulot ng kung paano ginagamit ng mga opisyal ng Espanyol at mga praile ang kanilang posisyon para sa sariling interes na nagdudulot ng pagdurusa ng mga Pilipino. Isa pa rito ang edukasyon. Binibigyan diin ang kahalagahan ng edukasyon. Ngunit, ipinapakita rin ang mga limitasyon nito sa pagkamit ng tunay na pagbabago kung hindi sasamahan ng iba pang mga aksyon. Sa kabuuan, ang mga tema ng El Filibusterismo ay nananatiling mahalaga at makabuluhan sa kasalukuyang panahon sa Pilipinas dahil nagpapakita ito ng mga patuloy na hamon sa lipunan at politika na kinakaharap ng bansa. El Fil essentially different from its prequel is that it offers various means of attaining social reform and somewhat hinted what the authors believed was ideal. Some dialogues and incidents seem to suggest the apparent improbability of any radical social political change. The main character's persistence to push through with the rebellion, on the other hand, seems to suggest that independence is attainable through revolution. However, the closing chapters rather insinuate that freedom must be attained without bloodshed, as the story ends with the failure of Simon land uprising. Ibig sabihin, sa El Filibusterismo hindi lang basta naglalahad ng mga problema sa lipunan tulad ng ginawa sa Noli Me Tangere. Sa halip, nagpapakita ito ng iba't ibang posibleng resolusyon o paraan para baguhin ang lipunan. Ipinapakita nito na may mga karakter na naniniwala sa reforma habang mayroon ding naniniwala sa revolusyon. Gayunpaman, sa huli, ipinahihiwatig ng nobela na ang tunay na kalagayan ay hindi nakakamit sa pamamagitan ng madugong revolusyon kundi sa pamamagitan ng mapayapang paraan. The novel's ending, some scholars explain, however, should not be interpreted as Rizal's categorical stand against revolution. At best, Rizal can be said to be against unprepared and disorganized rebellion of uneducated people which could have a slim chance of victory. It is important to note that Rizal once commented that an upright, patriotic, and selfless individual like Nollis Elias would be a viable revolutionary leader. In fact, Rizal was said to have confessed that he seriously regretted having killed Elias instead of Ibarra. This seemed to prove that Rizal, though practically promoting the attainment of reforms peacefully, also advocated the idea of armed revolution under some conditions. Intelligent as he was, what Rizal would never subscribe to is the useless spilling of blood, but not the uprising first. Ibig sabihin, hindi dapat isipin na tutol si Rizal sa lahat ng uri ng revolusyon. Ang tinututulan niya ay ang revolusyong walang plano, walang paghahanda at pinamumunuan ng mga taong walang sapat na kaalaman. Naniniwala si Rizal na kung ang revolusyon ay pinamumunuan ng isang taong katulad ni Elias, isang matuwid, makabayan at walang pag-iimbot, maaaring magtagumpay ito. Kaya't pinagsisisihan niya na pinatay niya si Elias sa kanyang nobela. Ipinapakita nito na bagamat mas gusto ni Rizal ang mapayapang pagbabago, hindi niya isinasara ang pinto sa revolusyon kung kinakailangan. Ang hindi niya gusto ay ang pagdanak ng dugo ng walang saysay o yung revolusyong walang patutunguhan. Sa madaling salita, naniniwala si Rizal na ang revolusyon ay dapat lamang gamitin bilang huling paraan at dapat itong planuhin ng mabuti at pinamumunuan ng mga taong may kakayanan at integridad. Ang layunin ay hindi ang magdanak ng dugo kundi ang pagkamit ng tunay na kalayaan at pagbabago sa lipunan. Noli versus Fili. Rizal wrote the El Filibusterismo about 4 years after the Noli Me Tangere. The experiences he had in those 4 years expelled a lot of differences in the way he treated his two novels. Sa pagitan ng pagsulat ni Rizal ng Noli at Fili, marami nangyari sa buhay niya na nakaapekto sa kanyang pananaw at kung paano niya isinulat ang kanyang mga nobela. Hindi na siya yung dating Rizal noong isinusulat niya yung Noli. Mas marami na siyang naranasan, mas naging mature at mas naging kritikal sa sitwasyon ng Pilipinas. Kaya't makikita ang pagkakaiba sa tono, tema at mensahe ng dalawang nobela. The social condition in the country, both novels employ satires and caricatures. El Fili, however, is more serious as there is less humor and more bitterness in the treatment of situation. Sa mga nobela ni Rizal, pareho niyang ginamit ang satira o pangungutya at karikatura o pagpapalabis sa katangian para ipakita ang mga problema sa lipunan sa Noli at Pili. Pero sa El Filibusterismo, mas worse ang mga nilalaman nito. Mas seryoso ang tono, mas kaunti ang mga nakakatawang eksena at mas ramdam ang galit at pagkadismaya ni Rizal sa kalagayan ng Pilipinas. Parang mas bitter siya sa Fili kaysa sa Noli. Sa Noli Me Tangere, ipinakita ni Rizal ang mga paghihirap at pag-aabuso na dinanas ng mga Pilipino sa ilalim ng mga Espanyol. Halimbawa, ang pagmamalupit ng mga Frayre, ang pang-aagaw ng lupa at ang diskriminasyon laban sa mga Pilipino. Sa El Filibusterismo naman, ipinakita ni Rizal na ang mga Pilipino ay hindi basta nagpapabaya sa mga pang-aabuso. Nagising na ang kanilang kamalayan at handa na silang lumaban para sa kanilang kalayaan. Nabuo na ang mga grupo ng mga revolusyonaryo sa pagpaplano ng pag-aalsa laban sa mga Espanyol. Generally, El Fili presents a gloomer defection of the country under the Spanish regime. More radical and revolutionary, the novel has less idealism and romance than the Noli. The El Fili manifests Rizal's more mature and less hopeful attitude toward the socio-political situation in the country. The grimmer outlook and more tragic mood can be attributed to the persecution and sufferings the author and his family experienced from the Spanish friars and officials in the years he was writing the novel. Kung ikukumpara natin ang Noli Me Tangere at ang El Filibusterismo, ay mas malungkot at mas madilim ang tono. Mas radikal ang mga ideya nito at mas hayagan ang pagsuporta sa revolusyon. Wala na masyadong idealismo at pag-ibig na makikita sa Noli. Ipinapakita nito na si Rizal ay mas naging mature at mas nawala ng pag-asa sa pagbabago ng lipunan. Ito ay dahil sa mga paghihirap at pag-uusig na dinanas niya at ng kanyang pamilya sa kamay ng mga Espanyol habang inasinusulat niya ang nobela. Notwithstanding the sufferings caused by the Spaniards to the family of Rizal, the Fili its author claimed is not a matter of revenge. He wrote to Blumentritt, "I have not written it in Fili, any idea of vengeance against my enemies, but only for the good of those who suffer for the rights of Tagalogs." Kahit na maraming masamang nangyari sa pamilya ni Rizal dahil sa mga Espanyol, sinabi niya na hindi niya sinulat ang El Filibusterismo para maghiganti. Ang layunin niya ay para ipakita ang kalagayan ng mga Pilipino na nagdurusa at para ipaglaban ang kanilang mga karapatan. Hindi siya nag-isip ng paghihigante kundi ang pagtulong sa mga inaapi. Some of Rizal's friends like Blumentritt and Graciano Lapesina expressed that Fili was superior to Noli. Rizal himself apparently once believed in the superiority of the Fili. When its printing had to be stopped for the lack of funds, he wrote to Basa, "It is pity because it seems to me that the second part of the Fili is more important than the first, the Noli." May mga kaibigan si Rizal tulad ni Blumentritt at Lopez Haina na mas gusto ang El Filibusterismo kaysa sa Noli Me Tangere. Pati si Rizal naniniwala rin noon na mas mahalaga ang Fili. Kaya nga nang mahinto ang paglilimbag nito dahil kulang sa pera, nalungkot siya at sinabi niya kay Basa na mas mahalaga pa ito kaysa sa Noli. Ipinapakita nito, noong una, mataas ang tingin ni Rizal sa kanyang El Filibusterismo. After the Philly was published, nonetheless, Rizal appeared to have a change of heart. In his October 13, 1891 letter to Marcelo del Pilar, he said, "I appreciate what you say about my work, and I value your opinion highly that considered my filibusterismo inferior to the Nolly. I too frankly, without irony of words, with a double meaning, share your opinion. For me, the filibusterismo as a novel is inferior to the Nolly. You are the first one to tell me the truth, and I agree with this flatters me, as it proves that I still know how to judge myself." Kahit na noong una ay mataas ang tingin ni Rizal sa El Filibusterismo, nagbago ang kanyang isip pagkatapos itong mailathala. Sa isang liham kay Marcelo del Pilar, sinabi niya na sumasang-ayon siya na mas maganda ang nalimitang hari kesa sa El Filibusterismo. Ikinatuwa pa nga niya na mayroong nagsabi sa kanya ng totoo, dahil pinatunayan nito na kaya pa rin niyang husgahan ang kanyang sariling gawa. Ipinakita nito na si Rizal ay mapagkumbaba at handang tanggapin ang kritisismo. As regards his friends who told him that Philly was better, Rizal explained in the same letter, "Blumentritt, all those in Paris and Barcelona, for their benevolence towards me, say it, the Philly is superior. I attribute it only to their benevolence." Sinabi ni Rizal na kaya sinabi ng mga kaibigan niya, tulad ni Blumentritt, na mas magandang El Filibusterismo ay dahil gusto lang nilang maging mabait sa kanya. Hindi dahil sa talagang mas maganda ito, kundi dahil gusto lang nilang pasayahin siya at ipakita ang kanilang suporta. Kaya inisip ni Rizal na hindi dapat masyadong paniwalaan ang mga papuri na iyon.
The story in El Filibusterismo revolves around its main character Simon, who is an affluent jeweler. Simon is actually Crisostomo Ibarra of the Nolly, whom everyone thought had been killed by the Guardia Civil at Laguna de Bay. He has in fact escaped, fled to Cuba, become wealthy, and made connections with influential Spanish officials. Upon his return to the Philippines, after many years, he becomes very influential as Governor General, who owes so much to him, consults him in making decisions. In reality, however, everything Simon does is just part his grand plan to take revenge against the Spanish officials and rescue Maria Clara from the convent. Planning to stage a revolution, he smuggles arms and looks for followers, mainly from exploded, abused natives. One of his recruits in Basilio, the son of Sisa, who with Capitan Tiago helps, was able to study in Manila. Simon also makes an alliance with the revolutionary group on Cabisang Tales, a former cabisa de barangay who suffered maltreatment for the hands of friars. Using his influence, Simon encouraged corruption, decades in more oppressive government policies so that citizens may become more infuriated. When the love flickers and someone turns the wick, it will resolve into a big explosion that will become a signal to the revolutionary troops to simultaneously attack all the government buildings in Manila. Sa katotohanan, ang lahat ng ginagawa ni Simon ay bahagi lamang ng kanyang laking plano upang maghiganti laban sa mga opisyal na Espanyol at iligtas si Maria Clara mula sa kumbento. Sa pagpaplano ng maglungsad ng revolusyon, nagpupuslit siya ng mga armas at naghahanap ng mga tagasunod, pangunahin mula sa mga pinagsamantalahan at inabusong katutubo. Isa lamang sa kanyang mga na-recruit ay si Basilio, ang anak ni Sisa, na sa tulong ng Kapitan Tiago ay nakapag-aral sa Maynila. Nakipag-alyansya rin siya, si Simon, sa revolusyonaryong grupo ni Cabisang Tales, isang dating kabesa de barangay na nagdusa ng mga pangmamaltrato mula sa kamay ng mga fraile. Gamit ng kanyang impluwensya, hinihikayat ni Simon ang korupsyon, kabulukan, at mas mapang-aping mga patakaran ng gobyerno upang ang mga may lalong magalit. During the reception, Simon gives his gift to the newlyweds. Before hurriedly leaving the venue, he leaves a piece of mysterious paper.
bearing the message, "You will die tonight," signed by Juan Crisostomo Ibarra. Meanwhile, Isagani, the rejected lover of Paulita, is standing outside the reception. His friend Basilio tells him to leave the place because the lamp will soon blow up. When Father Salve identifies the handwriting in the note and confirms that it's ended Ibarra's, the guests begin to panic with the lamp flickers. Father Iron tries to turn the wick up, but Isagani, wanting to save Paulita's life, rushes into the house, grabs the lamp and throws into the river, which explodes. Dito daw po ay ipinapaliwanag daw po na Sipi ang kakaibang pangyayari sa likod ng pagnanakaw at pagbabalik ng orihinal na manuskripto ng Noli Me Tangere at El Filibusterismo. Ibinahagi ng isa sa mga magnanakaw na bumigat ang manuskripto at nakaramdam sila ng kakaiba habang binabasa ang mga ito. Kahit hindi nila naiintindihan ang Espanyol, dahil po dito, napagtanto nilang marahil ang kahalagahan ng dokumento at nagpasya silang ibalik ang mga ito nang walang bayad. Simon's revolutionary plot is thus known and he is hunted by the law enforcers. He manages to escape but is seriously wounded carrying his jewelry chest. He finds shelter in the home of Padre Florentino by the Sio. Learning of his presence in the house of the priest, the lieutenant of the Guardia Civil informed Padre Florentino that he will come in the evening to arrest Simon. Simon then takes poison so that he will not be caught alive. As the poison effects start to take toll on his body, he confessed to Florentino his true identity and his plan of revenge through the bloody revolution. After the emotional and agonizing confession of the dying man, the priest absolved the dying man from his sins, saying, "God will forgive your sin, Simon. He knows that you are fallible. He has seen that you have suffered. He has frustrated your plans one by one, first by the death of Maria Clara, then by a lack of preparation, then in some mysterious way. Let us bow his will and render him thanks." The story ends with the priest throwing Simon's treasures into the sea so that they will not be used by the greedy. The priest hopes that when the right time comes, they will be recovered, used only for the good. Noli and Feli stolen. In Rizal times, the Permanent Commission of Censorship recommended the absolute prohibition of the information, reproduction, and circulation of the Noli. The copies of the Phil, on the other hand, were destroyed by customs in Manila upon shipment to the Philippines. The rare surviving copies of the novels were secretly purchased and, according to the one friend of the family, had to be read in the smallest, most private room in the house, the toilet. Ocampo, 2012, p. 108. That was the fate of first edition of Rizal novels, but that is nothing compared to what happened to their original manuscript about 70 years after their publication. The original manuscript of the Noli and Feli, lalo with that of the poem, Mi Ultimo Adios, were stolen from the National Library on the evening of December 8, 1961. After some days, the thieves who outsmarted the building's sleepy guards sent a ransom note made of newspaper cutouts, the Jose Rizal National Centennial. Commission GRNCC, Ocampo, 2012, p. 148. The robbers demanded 1.4 million pesos for the return of the original text, else Rizal handworks would be turned. To summarize the historic robbery, the then Education Secretary Alejandro Andeng Roses personally met with the burglars and after some various negotiations had retrieved the documents without paying any single centavo. The manuscript were returned on the installment based the Ultimo Adios during the first meeting, the El Fili on the next negotiation, and lastly the Noli. There was a time when the demanded ransom was reduced to 100,000 pesos and then 10,000 pesos, Ocampo 2012, p. 148, but recognized perhaps that they would get nothing from the government. The robbers ultimately settled on the retaining the expensive documents free of charge. Many still find this charge-free return of the manuscript strange and mind-blowing, but the following additional details about the story could perhaps shed light on the account. During the negation, one of the burglars related to Roses that on night of the robbery, the Rizal manuscript suddenly became heavy. As Cabana Price, the thief thus exclaimed, "The manuscript must be holy or haunted." Ocampo 2012, p. 148. One robbery even claimed that he read Rizal handwriting novels and described the feeling. Ang sarap basahin kinikilabutan ako. Ocampo 2012 P148. It remarkably funny to note, however, the thief did not understand Spanish. Nonetheless, this indicates the Stitlers were probably bothered by their conscience. Hence the consent to just send back the national hero's worker. Andring promised not to identify the robbers or to be a witness against them in court. Thus the hilariously controversial divers were never known. The novel's legacy, for fearlessly depicting the corruption, abuses by the Spanish clergy and colonial government during the Spanish regime in the Philippines. The two novels are historically very significant, basically a social sketch of country. Then the Noli and Fele reveal true setting and condition of the Filipino society in the era. As essential sources of sociological and anthropological studies, the books provide rich insight into the culture of 19th and 20th century Philippines. Their realistic depiction exposed conflicted colonial society, seriously split between the oppressors and suffering local slaves. The novel's characters mimic the various elements and types of individuals in the society. Furthermore, they show variable positive traits of the natives then, like the sense of gratitude, the fidelity of women to their loved ones, and yearning for freedom and equality. For their explicit portrayal of what the local really wish for their country, the books were instrumental in forming the Filipinos, Indios, sense of national identity indirectly but significantly. The novels influenced the revolution led by the Katipunan as they inspired the Andres Bonifacio and the other revolutionaries in their cause. Rizal was arrested, exiled to Dapitan, ultimately executed in 1896. Based principally on his writing in 1956, the Philippine Congress passed the Rizal Law, Republic Act 1425, requiring all levels of Philippine schools to teach as part of the curriculum that heroes two novels. Originally written in Spanish, the Null and Fill had been translated into various languages like Filipino, English, German, French, Chinese, and some other Philippine languages. In 2007, an English version of Noli Me Tangere was released to major Australian bookstores. It was published by Penguin Books Classics as part of the publication commitment to publish the major literary classic of world.